prostate is, or where it is located and all of that, right?
Yes, pretty much.
Okay. So I just going to throw up a picture. You know, as I say, when they come later, they could always check it out on the they could check out the recording.
Socks.
Yeah, yeah. What going on? You good?
He's talking to you.
Yes.
All right, cool, cool. All right, so here's I'm sharing this picture here, right? And I know I could draw on this and all of that. Yeah? So basically, this is it right here, right? So, let me do the drawing. Get my pen. Right? And we see the location of it is right under the, as I say, inferior to the bladder. You know.
Right.
And shit, what's the other this thing? All right, that was easy enough. Right? So you know, it's just it's the thing is that so much people I'm running into with this these prostate issues. So I just say we need to have a discussion on it and you know see how we can make sense out of the whole thing. Right? Most people talk about the prostate being inflamed and being enlarged and all of that. But let me ask you, well, since you here, you on, right? You know how it does function and operate. So when it comes to a prostate being inflamed, right? From the time you hear inflamed, what it is running through your mind?
When something is inflamed,
Yeah.
I guess it would be an infection, right?
Oh, okay. All right. Mm-hmm. Definitely an infection. That is an option. You know, and the infection could be either as they say, either bacterial, viral, or what else? Anything else? Or no?
Maybe it's not functioning properly. Maybe something is not filtering, too much toxins, you know.
Yeah. I mean, too much toxins. That's one for sure because you know when it comes to you know where the prostate is located, and then I always tell people like you know where the colon is situated also, right? The colon is basically right there behind the prostate. So now if you have if someone is constipated or they have a lot of stool that's on the inside, right? Well, inside the colon, I should say, right? What happens is all that bacteria that's stored inside there, it has to go somewhere. And if you're not regular and it's coming out, it's gonna eventually penetrate the body, right? We know that when we talk about inside the body, right? Anything that's in the colon is not really inside the body. From the mouth to the rectum to the anus, we consider it out of the body, right? The only time it's in the body is when it's absorbed, right? So anything that's in that colon is basically waste, and that waste that needs to be eliminated. The thing is now, due to the fact that we eat certain type of diet or eat certain types of food like substances, right? It slows down the digestion, and with slowing down the digestion, you know, you slow down the bowel movement, right? And as the bowel movement slows down, now you have a lot of stuff inside there, doing all kinds of craziness. What people, some people may not know or understand is that the colon is like, how to put it, porous, right? So it could actually leak at times. So if it's leaking, where it's going to leak to? Inside the body, of course.
Right.
Right. So if you have all these toxins
inside, because it goes through the colon walls, right, and then to the tissues and the bloodstream.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And if that is happening, so that's toxins entering the body that way, right? And as it
Right.
does that, now you have infections and all types of stuff going on. And then when you look at where the prostate is situated, right next to the colon, and the bladder, a lot could be happening right there. A lot of absorption of toxins. So, one of the first things to do is to make sure you have proper bowel movements, you know, and that is one thing you definitely have to address, especially, I know we're talking about the prostate, but when it comes to, that women and fibroids also,
No, you're right.
that whole movement of the colon and making it regular is very
Right.
important because parasites, or bacteria that's not friendly to the body tend to feed on waste.
Right.
And if the body holds on to waste, so just hold on to waste in general, obviously it's going to be affected by it, right? So, keeping a clean colon is always good. It's good. It's great actually, and as we do the whole herbal thing. So when we do the herbal thing is we get a little deeper into it.
Of course.
Um, Nobody else is on here, so hey, we could get as deep as we want.
I hear you.
So I don't have to, really go. I still make it simple because that's what it is. It's simple, right?
Very
So
right.
when let me go back to the inflamed prostate, right? So inflammation, when we talk about inflammation, we talk about infection, we talk about bacteria, we talk about viruses, and all that brings about after inflammation. What comes with inflammation, I should say?
Um,
One.
a high count of white blood cells, right?
Oh yeah, because the immune system is trying to respond to what's going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's trying to create a defense to get rid of the infection, right? What a next main thing that people experience is pain.
Right.
So with pain comes inflammation. I always tell people that when it comes to pain, you got to look at pain as for what it is, right? And what pain is actually um, the body is trying to, regenerate itself. So as the body is trying to regenerate itself, now you being in pain should know what your body needs to actually um, create the repairs, or do the repairs that the body needs. So you need to put, what you need inside your body,
Now,
right?
what would you tell someone if they're just kind of starting out with living a healthy life and they won't know. So what would you tell them? How would you tell them to start? Like what can they do to begin to know what their body needs?
The well, what I would tell them is, first they have to understand what their body is, right? The body is energy, we know that, right? And where we get energy from is, or I should say, what is energy, right? And to be energy, you have to have the five elements, of course, right?
Right.
Which is ether, fire, earth, air, water, right? You have to possess that. So to generate energy, obviously you have to feed the body fuel, right? And the best fuel there is from the earth,
All right.
right?
Plant-based foods.
Plant-based foods, because from the earth, the whole process with the minerals and the absorption through the roots and the whole energy transfer to the fruits and the foods that we eat, right? You cannot really find that in what they call it, processed foods, because processed foods is what it is. It is processed. My body processes food, right? So when I eat, my body processes it. So at the end of the process, waste comes out. So if you're eating something called processed food, right? That means what? You're eating waste, basically. You know, it could go either way, but it is what it is. You know, I don't make things complicated.
That was dead food.
Yeah, dead food, and dead food tends to pull you down,
Right.
right? It slows down the whole digestive process because now your body has to work harder to break it down. Um, you know, because it's just a bunch of chemicals made up, and being that it's chemicals made up and it's not in its natural form or natural state, then the body doesn't recognize it, but your body wants to be here, right? So it's gonna do what it needs to do to actually be here. So it's gonna, adjust. That's why your liver is both anabolic and catabolic. So, what it knows is gonna break down and use. What it doesn't recognize, it's gonna have to change it into something that the body could use. You know, it ain't hard.
Which is sugar, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
Well,
mean, both.
most of like the flour and all that, it would just change into sugar.
Yeah, that's all it breaks down to is sugar. And that sugar, well, we get into sugar in I think maybe next couple months we getting into sugar real hard. So we gonna go there, right? But but let me come back to the prostate now. I showed you a picture of location of the prostate. Some of the symptoms of inflamed or enlarged prostate, as they say. You get frequent urination. That's a common one, right? Because once it's inflamed, it's gonna grow. So as it grows, what is gonna happen is gonna let me see if I could find an next picture here. What is gonna happen is it is going to press on your, well, men, of course. It's gonna press on the bladder, right? And as it press on the bladder, now the bladder has less room to let me see, I want to find a good one. Boom. Let's try this one. Yeah. So it press on the bladder. The bladder is the blue one on top. So as it press on the bladder, obviously the bladder has less room to have urine in there. So every time it's inflamed or large, right, you're gonna have a frequency in urination, right? To the point where it could be real bad. I know men, I know a few of them, they've been what do you call it? Every night, waking up all hours of the night, trying to just because they had a pee, they can't do nothing else,
Right.
But it is what it is. From where it's pressing on the bladder, it could also press on the colon, right? And as it press on the colon, let me see. As it press on the colon now, what some men could experience is let me pull up this one. Boom. All right, so you see the rectum here, right? So as it press, let me get my pen ready, right? So this is the prostate right here. So if it's enlarged, if it gets larger, pressure on the bladder is going to pressure on the rectum. Some men do experience a little bleeding, right, after a bowel movement. That's because it's so much pressing on the rectum here, that you get an experience of what do you call that thing, boy? Hemorrhoids. And you get a little bleeding after you have a bowel movement because it's so painful, right? Because obviously if the prostate is enlarged, then you have less room in the rectum for the feces to move through.
Right.
Right. So I mean, it's just simple things, nothing nothing big, but we simple stuff that we look at but we don't pay attention.
Maybe
Right?
you could talk about what's the function of the prostate.
Yeah, the function of the prostate is well, it's a gland, right? We know that for sure. So what do glands do? Glands produce a lot of hormones. The different hormones that the prostate produces, People could read up on it. There's so much more that we don't know of. But when it comes to the other functions of the prostate, it's definitely is a very strong muscle, right? Because it is through the prostate contracting, right? That's how the semen and the sperm moves, right? Because if we look at here, let me go here. I'm glad I pick up these pictures, man, because that way people could get a visual, you know. Let me see. All right, so we go from here. Let me try this one. Let's see how it works. Boom. Yeah, this one kind of I tried to cut it out, you know, because you know we might have some young people on. You know how they do. But here you have the prostate here, right? Boom. And you see these two blue coming here, right? These come actually straight from the testicles. So from the testes, you have what? Maybe like 40 feet of vessels that's inside the testes, right? I'll see if I have a picture of that. And then the prostate has to actually contract to move that sperm through and take it through the urethra, through the penis and all of that type of stuff, right?
Okay.
It has to be very strong, you know. So when it comes to exercise and you know, all those type of, how to put it, the foods that actually strengthen muscle tissue, then we have to eat a lot of them. We have to put them in the body.
Yeah, I was
Right?
just about to ask you. So, how can a man strengthen the muscle? I mean, strengthen the prostate in general. So, you were saying that they should be putting certain foods in their body that's specifically
Mhm.
for muscle
Yes.
or circulation, right?
Yes. Circulation is a definite. You know, without oxygen, we're not gonna last long, right? Hold on a second. Let me get out of here. Without oxygen, we're not gonna last long. Um, then, as you say, that circulation, what happens is, like when we talk about the constipation, right? When people sit on the toilet and they can't move the bowels, but they want to move it, they tend to force. And as they force, they hold the breath. Every time you hold your breath, you deprive your cells from oxygen, right?
Right.
So as you deprive your cells from oxygen, and especially down in that lower region there in the rectum, where you're trying to push and push, right? A lot of damage is happening, is occurring. You know,
Mm.
cells are being destroyed because there's no oxygen, and then you pushing and pushing. So when that happens now, you know, you how to put it, you put the prostate in a very difficult position because now it's right next to the rectum. You push in, and that's why we get a lot of bleeding too, right? And there's no oxygen there. So the whole thing is the body is always we got to remember that the body is always doing the right thing. So whatever the body is,
Right.
you know, we just have to roll with it. That's all. You know, what else? When it comes to, you know, we every part of the body have nerve endings. The prostate is one that has a lot of nerve endings. That's why you always have to feed it with some type of nerve food, a nerve tonic, you know. And we're talking about the prostate, but the whole thing is about the entire body, right? Because we look at the body as one. There's no singling out one thing, right? Because if I was to do something with prostate, right, or anybody working with people, you know, and consulting with them on issues of the body, you have to cover all the systems. You just can't cover one, right? So if you're dealing with the prostate, you have something that, let's look at saw palmetto berries. That is a food for the prostate that, you know, it could stand by itself. That's a guarantee. I know that for sure, right? But along with that being the prostate, You gotta increase the circulation, of course, because you want oxygen, you want all kinds of stuff going to the prostate, you know. And with that circulation, you want a lot of nutrients, a lot of nourishment. So, you gotta put the right foods in your body to actually nourish the body to give it the energy that it needs to, do the repairs, right? So it's
Right.
not, it's not hard, it's very, for me at least, it's simple.
Of course, you would say that. No, but I mean, the thing is to actually make it simple for those who have busy lives, because obviously it seems like those who are uneducated or they have busy lives, they don't really take care of themselves, so they have to try to find ways, like simple ways,
Mhm.
easy ways to kind of help them to take care of their whole body, because if they slack off on one area, then it's going to affect the other. So you can't really just focus on, of course, the prostate, which they probably would, but
Exactly.
you got to just make sure that you're exercising and taking in certain foods, plant-based and all.
Yeah, exactly, because you know to to get to where your prostate gets inflamed, there's so much stuff has to happen before that, right? So much stuff. So when we look at different issues that happen with the body, right? It just doesn't happen like that, and it's not only all right, prostate or blood pressure or whatever it is. So many things has to happen before that even starts to become an issue that we don't really pay attention to, and it's like I would say the one of the main things is for people to understand their body and know it, right? Know what your body is doing at all times.
Right.
If you're looking for a simple way to really take care of your body, know what your body is, right? And when is that whole hand to mouth eye coordination. So what I'm putting in my body should be fuel for my body, right? It shouldn't be any dead food, right? And when it comes to living food, we know that, if you don't see seeds, then there's no life in that food,
That's right.
right? That's the bottom line. You
Right.
know, living foods come from seeds, right? If it's not from seeds, then I keep it simple, so I in this way I have to be talking about this diet, that diet, the other diet, all these diets. Yeah, because all the diet is just a trend, right? So, you go from vegetarian to pescatarian
To
to vegan,
vegan, to
you
raw foodist.
know, to
You know,
liquid.
but you no, okay, but you know what it is. So let's let the diet stay, and let's give them credit, because certain people, you have to start where they are, right? So
Hmm.
if they grew up not really knowing how to eat, you got to start somewhere, you know. But the end result would be, like you said, to know what you are, and then to eat properly, to know what these foods are doing to your body, because it is very simple, but we weren't raised that way.
Yeah, 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 yeah. We won't. And it's like when people talk and say, like this runs in the family, that runs in the family. I just straight up tell them, I said, the only thing that runs in your family is what you
Is
eat. Because,
diet. Yep.
yeah, you know, you grew up eating your mother's cooking, you love it. Or your father's cooking, you love it. And
Right.
you eat in the same way.
Yep.
And while you eat the same way, you get the same results. So that's the only thing that really runs in the family, you know. So when it comes to eating, when you look at the prostate, we talk about the whole system, right? So I'm talking about from the kidneys all the way down to the testes. Um, you gotta feed those kidneys. Right on top of the kidneys, you have that adrenal gland, right? It's all about hormonal production. I was talking to somebody last night about men and hormones, and you know, as men, hey, let me just talk for myself. When growing up as a man, you were taught to deal with your shit. You know, there's no crying. You know, you deal with it, and that's it.
That's true.
You know, so nobody really paying attention to hormone and hormonal imbalance and all this kind of stuff, right? We leave that for the females and them,
Mm,
you know. But then, you know, with close observation, you could definitely see, you know, certain men. All depends on what they're putting in their body, of course. If you put in the wrong things in your body, it's not gonna produce what it needs to produce.
oh man, I've seen men who eat too much soy who act like females. They're too emotional. I mean, it's to the point where, you know, yeah, it's a little bit too much emotions going on and traveling through the system. But of course, the soy has estrogen, so what do you expect, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I mean, and that's the whole thing. You know, as you say, it's steps, right? So we try to break away. Some of us try to break away from the meat. Some of us try to break away from the soy. Um, you know, but it takes time. You know, but you know, the whole thing is take your time, and you're gonna get there. You know, some faster than others, and we'll leave it at that, right? So
Right.
when it comes to the foods, just like in, you know, when we train and we look at everything, we have something called plant energetics, right? So you look at the energy of the plant, you look at the energy of the food, and you apply it to the body and the different energies that's running through the body. Uh, you know, when it comes to prostate, you know, they say it's like the size of a walnut, right? That's why not? So why not use black walnut, right?
Mm, right.
Especially if it's inflamed, because now it has an infection. And what does
Mm,
black walnut do? Black walnut is one of them parasite hunters that just find them and destroy them. You
mm,
understand? So why not add some black walnut to the regimen?
right.
You know, add black walnut, add some soap or meadow berries. You know, like, all right. So if we go back to when I said, what comes to mind when you talk about being inflamed, like the prostate being inflamed? For me, right? Now, all I'm hearing is fire, right? Because it's a fire element, inflammation, flame,
Mm, mm,
right? So it's inflamed. Now, this is like classwork, but check this out. If something is inflamed, there's too much heat, you want to cool it down, right? So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
you understand? So to cool it down, right? One of the best ways to cool it down is water, as the fastest way, right? Now, when you look at soap or meadow berries, look at all its characteristics, look at the vibes that it sent off, where it grows, right? The biome, you look at everything of the plant and it will give you all the answers right there. You know, it's a berry, right? It's very intelligent. And we know when it comes to berries, berries is a food that has everything. It has everything that your body needs, right? So when you look at the leaves of the saw palmetto, right, where it grows, you know, mostly swampy areas. So it holds a lot of water. It carries it, right? So now when you drink them saw palmetto berries and you know all that energetics take place part on the inside of the body, right? Within what 2-3 days, you start seeing a difference. You know, you're not urinating as much. You start feeling better, and it all depends on the inflammation, right? Because sometimes, you know, some people, it's so inflamed that you could experience back pain, right? Because in that area, it's not just the rectum or the bladder, we have a lot of nerve endings.
Right.
So as it gets bigger, as the prostate gets enlarged, inflamed, whatever you want to call it, it presses on these nerve endings, you know. I know someone who I know someone who it was so enlarged that it pressed on the nerve ending so much that what was happening is that he couldn't even walk. at one point in time, right?
Wow.
Yeah, right. So if your prostate is that enlarged that it puts you down on the ground where you can't even walk, that's a serious problem.
Right.
Because now it's pressing on your on the nerves, and the prostate itself has a lot of nerve endings in there. So, that's why, it's just not about just the prostate alone. You have to address the entire body, all 12 systems, right? Because if something is pressing on your nerve endings, definitely you're going to experience some type of nerve damage, nerve trauma.
Right.
And you want at any given time to do some repair to it, do some repair to it. So, what else you could see with prostate issues? As it grows and it gets enlarged, inflamed, right? With whether it's a virus or bacteria, what could happen is you could see people, not only the frequency in urination, but what will happen is the infection starts to spread. So it either runs down the urethra or up to the kidney, right? And when it's doing that, what happens is those lines, let me show you a picture of that so we could get some type of reference here. Let me see, let me go with this one. All right, so you see the prostate here, the bladder, right? And these bad boys here, they go up to the kidney. And then you have the adrenals at the top here, right? So when you're dealing with this here, right, some of the main issues you're going to be running is this whole system right here. And obviously the testes is at the bottom down here, right? Because once this inflammation starts, it's going to start spreading, right? And you will see, you could actually see to the point where when a man is taking a piss, right? Instead of that straight stream, you see it's like he pissing everywhere. There's no stream, right? And that's because on the inside is so scarred from the infection or the inflammation. What is happening is when it flows out, right, it just disperses like all over. So basically he can't piss at all with the seat up or with the seat down, right? It's gonna be a mess.
Um, all right, so most adults get prostate infections, right? Can kids get prostate infections? Is it, rare?
It's very rare, but what I would say is I've seen a lot of 20-somethings now dealing with issues like that. Right? They come in the shop all the time. I'm like, I just shake my head. I'm like, yo, man, you way too young for this.
Right.
And even the older ones, I mean, to me, the older ones too, they're too young for it too. Just because you're 40, that don't mean you gotta have prostate issues.
Right.
So you definitely seen it, but I wouldn't say it's a concern because they're growing, right? Children are growing. They always talk about what they call it, DHT, when it comes to the prostate. It's a hormone that's overproduced by the prostate. But then they say that in the development of the prostate, DHT is something that, the body produces a lot to actually develop the prostate. So it's research is kind of on the, how to put it, they're on both sides of the fence, I guess.
Right, of course.
If my prostate is enlarged, right, and it's producing an extra amount of DHT, right, a hormone that actually is produced when the prostate is developing, right? Now you got to look at it as, all right, so it's inflamed. So what is it doing? What's going on? Why is it inflamed? All right. So it's inflamed. Now the body is producing the DHT. Clearly the body producing the DHT for a reason, because we know the body is always doing the right thing. So if it's producing the DHT for a reason, now we got to find out what that reason is. Once we know that, we address it. You know,
Right.
we don't try to make stuff complicated. I don't, you know, and it could all be addressed. You know, so let me see what else. You know, it pumps, as I say, it contracts because it's a muscle, and that is that with that contraction, what happens is it moves the sperm, it moves the semen through the penis, right? We know the semen is there to you know, neutralize any acidity, basically deal with any bacteria, right?
So usually, so it doesn't contract on its own. So you have to have some sort of ejaculation in order for it to contract. Is that correct?
Yes, you have to have stimuli. All right,
Okay.
yeah, you have to have stimuli.
Okay.
You know,
So that means that having sex is pretty much a healthy thing because it's actually making the prostate stronger. No?
yes, exactly. Yep.
I think
And
a lot of gentlemen would like to hear that. And then a woman can help them.
but of course, and that's the whole thing because you know this whole you have to because how else is gonna get the exercise that it needs?
Right. It's a natural form.
That's it. You have to if any muscle, your body is a big ass muscle, right? Your body is energy. You have to exercise it to get the muscle strong. You know, so there's something that they need. We all need.
Right.
You know, so I mean, and then when it releases these, if it doesn't release, and that's more science too, you know, so they call the semen, they call it pre-ejaculation, right? So with what they call it, with the pre-ejaculation, that's the semen, right? So it comes to neutralize any type of bacteria or anything that's in the within the urethra or the penis, the flow, right? Because people, when they're having sex, obviously there's definitely chance of conception, right? And we know the body is always doing the right thing, is always protecting itself. So with that, what is happening is the immune system of the body kicks in, right? That's why, like I post the a picture on Instagram asking if the prostate is the second brain. You know, people always say men think with men have two brains, right? One is the head and the next one is the penis, but you gotta look at the prostate, see if the prostate could get in there because you know how the prostate know, right, to secrete these type of these fluids, right? And that's the next thing. If it's not secreting these fluids, you gotta check yourself. You gotta wonder, you gotta ask yourself, why is it not happening? Right? And then address it, you know, because it's happening, it has to happen for a reason. You know, if you're trying to have intercourse to impregnate somebody, you want all the immune systems responding fine, responding accurately, because now, once conception happens, you know, you don't want no problems.
Right. So what would be the signs? Like, I mean, when someone when a man and a woman are when a man and a woman is having sex, what are the signs from a man's point of view, I guess, from his body that will show that there's an issue with the prostate? Is it like maybe they're not ejaculating too much, fluid? Are they not aroused as much, or does their penis not get hard? Like, what exactly is going on with their body that they can notice?
Well, one thing for sure is the penis with the hardness, the firmness of the penis, right? We know that the prostate has tons of nerve endings, tons, and it triggers a lot of hormones, and it's one of them that deal with the erections also. Next thing you could look at is the pre-ejaculation, is it even there, right? Same thing with a woman. If she's not, as they say, if she's not wet or he ain't wet, then there's no, you gotta wait. You gotta wait because
Right.
that wetness is protection. That's the immune system kicking in, right?
Right.
To take care of any type of bacteria that's in that pot.
It's neutralizing the bacteria
Yes.
for both
Yeah.
men, a man and a woman.
Both man and woman.
You got it.
Right? If a man has an ejaculation and he has ejaculation and nothing comes out, you gotta look at that.
Mm.
Or if it comes out very slowly, right? Because we know the prostate is a muscle, so it's gonna start contracting. As it contracts, it's gonna shoot that sperm is gonna shoot it out. Shoot it out. So if it's not shooting out and it's just trickling out, you gotta check that.
Mm.
I know there's a lot of things that they tell you to do otherwise, and let people stick their finger here and there and all of that type of stuff. I'm sorry, I can't. I can't deal with that.
Wait, what do you mean? You mean what? Stick the finger in the rectum to stimulate it?
No, well, that's what they that's not one of the tests that they do. They stick
I don't know. I'm not a man. I don't go through those procedures.
and feel. What are you feeling for, though? You know what prostate should be there. Now, what are you feeling for? To space enlarged? I'm good. You see that straight up off the bat, that's a one way, right? So nothing should be going in there. It's a one way. You understand? So,
all right. So how can, if someone's prostate is enlarged, how can, let's just say, if the doctor's not checking, how can, you're going to feel it. Is that what it is? Because of the inflammation and the pain. And so it's just symptoms.
Yes, it's just symptoms.
But how can the doctor check for that now? Blood tests or, what's another way?
They do blood tests and they look for, they look for markers in the body. The different hormone levels, if it's too high or too low. I always tell people when it comes to blood tests, know that they take the blood from your veins and not your arteries.
Mm.
The blood what's in the arteries is what's in your body.
Right.
The reason why they don't take it from the arteries because it's hard to get and it's very painful. So when it comes to taking blood from the veins, remember that the vein is the deoxygenated blood. It's the waste that the body is getting rid of.
Right.
If I find high levels of something in my blood, in the waste blood, right, then my body is doing the right thing. It's getting rid
of it.
Yeah, exactly. So, you gotta just try and make sense of everything that people tell you. But as I say, the symptoms will be there, and it all comes back to the diet, what it is you put in your body. Because once I know what you're putting in your body, you could basically tell what's going on with people.
Right.
Because as I say, the body is just energy, and to fuel energy, you need the right fuel. You put it in your body, you'll be all right. It's not dead food. Dead food is dead food. And that's why when we eat dead food, right, all the macaroni pie and macaroni and cheese and what else? What else? The different breads and pastas and all this thing. You full up on it and then you start getting the itis, you start falling asleep because it's actually pulling you down to the ground. Because that's where the dead belongs, in the ground.
I laugh every time you say that. No, but it's true. It's true.
It's true. The dead belongs in the ground. That's why we bury them.
All right.
That's why we bury them.
Put them in a box, in a bag.
Yeah, right. And with that, observation is key. So when you go shopping for food, you see stuff sealed in a bag or sealed in a bag and then put in a box. 9 times out of 10 is dead food.
Right. Fresh produce is even better.
Exactly. And even with fresh produce, if you put it in a plastic bag like we do sometimes, and we tie it, what is going to happen?
Mm.
Right? What is going to happen? The food is going to rot real quick.
Right.
You know, and as it starts to rot, then hey, you know, that's that whole plastic thing. That plastic vibe is a dead vibe, basically.
Mm.
Right? Who else, boy? Any more questions so far? There's somebody else in the room, but they're quiet. They ain't asking no questions. So maybe they have maybe some suggestions that or some how to experiences that they could share. You know, I don't know. And I know he's a man, so he's male. So
Elroy, you have any questions? I mean, I asked a few questions. I mean, I don't, I mean, yeah, I don't really have any more. You kind of covered a lot. Um, maybe you need to speak about what specific herbs and
okay.
foods a man can focus on, you know,
Mm-hmm.
for I don't know, maybe you can talk about prostate maintenance, or you know, or you can talk about once they get a prostate infection or cancer of some sort, what can they do to fix that? So it's like a maintenance and then you know, treating.
Okay. As maintenance, I always say um, prostate belongs to the reproductive system. Anything belongs to the reproductive system, we talk a whole lot of seeds. Um, any type of foods that have a lot of seeds in them, pomegranate, figs, you know, who else, boy? Pumpkin seeds, we love that, you know, and if the pumpkin seed is good, definitely eat some pumpkin. You have the butternut squash, um, you know, I mean, and the list goes on. Anything that has is loaded with seeds, you know, that it's good for your reproductive. Specifically for the prostate, you're looking at nettle root, right? Because you know where the prostate is located is in the root chakra, as they call it, right? So you're going to definitely be doing a lot of roots. Nettle root is one of them. You're going to be doing. You could do some pygium, right? If you could find it on the market right now, it's kind of out there. It's not readily available, I guess, because of over harvesting or something. But the way how I operate is anytime I see something is scarce or over harvest, I switch up. I find something else. You know, um, you know, and it all depends on what else. What else you could use? Let me put. What else you could use? This right here. Chase tree berries, man. Don't. You see,
Nope.
a lot of people think chase tree berries is just for women and their hormonal stuff, eh? Right? But I telling you straight up, you see these chase tree berries right here, they ain't no joke. Because what is the prostate? The prostate is a gland also, right? And being a gland, it produces hormones that belongs to the endocrine system. So if you have problems with the prostate, you have to know that the entire endocrine system is under how to attack, right? So it's not only supporting the prostate, but supporting the whole endocrine system because all your hormones need to be maintained, right? And these are some of the, how to put it, the energetics that actually stimulate hormonal production, right? It's not that they create the
Blueberry.
hormone or they add the hormone, they stimulate it because remember, we just energy, right? So as you stimulate the hormone production by feeding the organs and the glands what they need, then you'll be fine. You know, it's all about the maintenance for me. I don't really, you don't have to wait till stuff happen, right? And when it comes to herbs and stuff like that, I don't just stick with one herb. You always change up. You know, if it's
Huh?
every 3 weeks or once a month, you know, change up the herbs that you're drinking. You know, and you will once you change up the herbs that you're drinking, you know, the body doesn't get how to put it, accustomed to what's going on. And you will you could experience a lot of good, you know. Right,
What you drinking on?
right now I'm drinking saw palmetto berries with what do you call it, boy? Black walnut, um, ginkgo biloba, and cayenne with some evening primrose. Right. Reason I'm drinking that is because the saw palmetto berries, right, is for the actual prostate health. Right? We know that the prostate has a lot of nerve endings. That's why I added the, what they call it, the evening primrose, because we know evening primrose deals with nerve issues like that, right? Then I added the ginkgo. Reason why I add the ginkgo because it promotes circulation in the head, right, and in the groin. That's why I say now I have to put the prostate in the running for the second brain of the man.
Loyal to your own brother,
right?
You can't even be loyal to your own brother.
Right?
Totep, mute your phone, brother.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Right? And then I add the cayenne. The cayenne promotes circulation. We know that the cayenne moves the blood. So, you know, as I say, it's all about maintenance for me. I switch it up every time, you know, and it's just, you know, I have no problems. You know, so, but I see them all the time. Because as I say, I'm in the shop, they come in and it's like, I'm like, yo. And what gets me is, all right, like this right here, right? You might look at this and be like, oh, it's a lot of berries in here. But shit, man, you 180, 225 pounds, and you thinking this is too much? Well, this is nothing compared to what your body really needs, because the diet that we on today, the things that we eat today is not really of nature, right? And nature is where you get all your nutrients, because that's where your minerals come from, the soil, right?
Oh.
So if you eating what they call the processed food stuff, there's no minerals in there. So your body is lacking a lot. And that's why we fall into this so-called sickness and all these different types of things, man. We could debate all day, but I'll take you right back to, hey, it's what you are. You know?
Right.
So, and it all depends on what's going on, how far the prostate infection or inflammation is, right? Because what could happen, as I say, if it's an infection, it's going to spread, right? Hold on a second, let me see what I could do here. All right, we're back now. So when it comes to inflammation or infections, right? So it could spread, and as it spreads up to the urethras and they're going into the kidney, you could cause even more problems, right? Because once it gets to the kidney, eventually it's going to make it to the adrenals. The adrenals is another, what do you call it? You know, hormonal production, right? So as it spreads now you have an infection spreading through the entire body, right? And we don't want that. So you gotta address it as soon as you see signs of it. I mean, address it. Don't wait. You know, and that's why when you urinate, you might experience burning in your urination, right? And if you're experiencing those things, well, then you know you gotta add different herbs to it, because as I say, it affects the entire body. It's not only the prostate or the reproductive system, right? It affects the blood, you know, the endocrine, the lymphatic, the digestive, the you know, the circulation, everything, you know, and it all depends on, as I say, that's why when you're working with people, it's like, all right, you got to know what's going on. And once you give me the whole story, then I could put a blend together and, hey, you know, you could deal with that. but until then, if you just maintain it on your own, just pay attention to the signs, pay attention to what your body doing, because the best thing for you to do is to know your body, right? Know how your body functions, know how your body operates. And if your body is out of doing something different, you will pick up on it, So before we go any further, let me see, any questions so far or no?
Oh,
No?
hello.
Yeah,
Hello?
go ahead.
Internet. Yeah, my internet a bit lagging. I reached a bit late to the meeting, so I only got the one or two information. But where exactly your store is?
Oh, I work in a store in Queens, People go laugh, eh? Watch me. I'm a cashier at a store in Queens.
Oh, I'm from Trinidad in the Caribbean, so I was a bit lost.
No. Well, put it like this. That is where I originate from, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've been working in as a cashier in Queens for the past minute, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I teach. We train herbalists, right? I train in herbalism and stuff like that. And for me, it's like to me right now is just to get the information out there. We have a lot of information to share, and I don't make things complicated. I keep it very simple, right? If people need me and they're not around, you could always reach out to me online. And, I do the same thing online. I do consultations online. I have no problem with that. It's all about getting to know what's going on with your body. And the way I do it is, we always as herbalists, we know, right? Any herbalist you talk to, they will say, well, hey, the first thing about herbalists is to teach, right? So teaching is number one. So I just ain't gonna mix up some tea and tell you, well, all right, take this. I'm gonna explain to you why I'm giving you what and what it's gonna do, because you're gonna experience it. And when you experience it, you will, once you have that experience, you could share it with others.
All right. But as you mentioned that I kind of new to the herbalist stuff, so I like to more or less collect literature and books and things to build my collection. So I have good things to read and things concerning the herbs to understand it and all of that. So as you are a herbalist, what books you recommend for someone who want to get into that or just to understand the herbs in general?
Whew. All right. Well, people say I'm a herbalist, right? I train them, of course, right? And I love doing it. We use some books. What I'll do, I'll have to go back and look because I stopped reading for a long time, right? Don't take this the wrong way, but where I do my reading, my observation is with nature, right? Because nature is what we are, right? There's a part in the course that we train in where we cover the 5 elements, and just how it's represented in nature, I could show you it's represented right in your body, right? So you are nature, right? I don't care how much you look in the dictionary and when you look under nature, you don't see human beings, right? You are nature, right? So if you observe and pay attention to nature, nature has all the answers, right? And that's what I've been doing for a long time.
Yeah, makes sense. Because my grandmom and them used to do more or less the same thing.
Exactly, you understand? Because back then they didn't have no book, right? My grandmother going and pick stuff and put in the pot and I drink. She drink.
It was more or less oral traditions, it passed on word of mouth.
Exactly. And it is nothing changed, right? The only thing that we need to do is observe more, right? Because I train to the point where, because if you don't have saw palmetto berries, or if you don't have cayenne in an emergency, the way I train it is, all right, you train with the elements, right? That's the main thing, right? So once you could identify the elements within any plant that's around you or anything that's in nature around you, now you could use the elements to get the results that you want, right? Because without the 5 elements, there's no life. If I take the oxygen away from your body, the air, right? If I take the air away from your body, then you're not here. You don't exist. You know, if I take the water away, you don't exist because you'll be dehydrated and you'll die. You know, so anytime you're looking for life, life has to have these 5 elements within them to be alive, to be that energy, right? You take away one, that's it, you're gone. You know, so when it comes to books, let me tell you, there's some good books out there, and what I would do, I have your email address. So what I would
Or
do,
the internet.
yeah, the internet too, right? And you could, I'll send you some books that I used back in the day.
Yeah, I have some copy of there. You know the Back to Eden? That's one
Yeah.
a good one.
Okay. Yeah, I see they have a new one to that too, like a revised version.
Yeah, I have the 2.
Okay. Yeah, you know, start somewhere and but the main thing is to observe nature, right? Because
Yeah.
let me tell you something. You could look at some plants and it's like take vines for example, right? Some vines get very, very aggressive, right? So when the aggression, you gotta match the energies to your body, right? So when it comes to vines and being aggressive, you know, play like this. In I think there's somewhere in South America there's a vine that they use. So if you're in a relationship and you want to hold on to that person, they actually make a tea from that.
Wow. Everybody get your pens out.
They actually make a tea from that and they serve it, right? Because the energy that the plant vine is producing, right, is a very clingy energy. So it holds on to everything and it won't let you go. Right? So, you know, it's, as I say, it's all about the energy. To me, it's very exciting, you know, and very interesting. But yeah, man, if you into herbs, I say just continue because what it is I'm seeing is the food that we eat in today, the things that we call in food, right? It doesn't provide the nutrients that your body needs to do the repairs that it needs to do, or for your body to keep functioning at the optimum level. So that's why the herbs, as we call it, which I call food, is just food, right? Because I will sit down and eat herbs just like that, right? So when we supplement, as they say, with the herbs, right? But the thing is, the herbs provide the nutrients, the minerals that your body need, right? If your body is not getting the minerals it needs, you're gonna die very quickly, and you know it could be a painful one too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Because let me ask you this, right? What is the best conductors? Some of the best conductors of energy, right?
Copper is one.
Metals.
The metals, right? All right.
Yeah.
So if the metals is the best, some of the best conductors of energy, like copper, you know, silver, you know, all the metals. Where do we find the metals? The metals are in the ground. And next name for the metals is what? Minerals, right?
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
So if minerals are found in the ground, right? That's what the plants are there for, because the roots have the ability to transform minerals, right, into the plants. From the roots, they go into the plant, the foliage, and then from the foliage, it goes into the fruit, right?
Right.
When we eat the fruit, we consume a lot of minerals, right? And being that they said that we are energy, right? So then the mineral count that I should be taking in should be very high because I'm energy. And for me to be able to conduct energy, I need minerals, is bottom line. And that is where I get my mineral count from. That's why my energy is so high. You. So I make it very simple. I don't try to make stuff hard. It's just to connect the dots, as I say. Observation is key, right? We shouldn't be having no set of prostate issues. Let's just recap because we at what? We are like 6 more minutes. We start off with the prostate. We look at.
So
Mhm.
sorry to cut you across because I know I saw you with some of the berries there. But like if you have to buy a brand new bottle, since I like miles away from you, and I have to go to the store to buy something, which brand you recommend has a good prostate care or supplemental blend?
That's the thing. I'm not too sure because most of my dealings with herbs and stuff is in the raw form.
So buy it raw then.
Yeah, if you could get it raw, that would be the best. Make the tea and drink. Even if you want to make the powder, you could always get one of them little coffee grinders and grind that shit down to a powder, and you could use that if you want.
But then how you know how much you use? Like the quantity.
You will know. Normally we do like a teaspoon to a cup. Teaspoon to a cup of water. Being that it's berries, what we do with berries, you make a decoction with berries, right? So that means you put it on the fire, on the low fire, and just let it simmer for like 15 minutes. Turn it off, let it cool, and then you drink it, right? Unlike
that makes sense.
Yeah, unlike leaves and flowers and stuff, you just make an infusion where you pour the hot water on it.
Right.
Being a root, berries, or bark, then you make decoctions out of them.
Oh, makes sense.
Yeah, and that way you really get the potency you're looking for. And I always say anywhere from 3 cups and up a day, and you will get some of the best results ever, man. So yeah, I mean, you could try out with the brands. What I'll say with when it comes to capsules and stuff like that, just look at the ingredients, right? Because if you're looking for saw palmetto, that's all that should be in there. If you see saw palmetto and they have other things written, then just leave it alone. Unless you're looking for a combination of saw palmetto and some other herb, well, yeah. But if it's if it's one herb you're looking for, make sure that herb alone is in there. Because
I think this brand or Evogel, I think they have the drops. It has been a liquid form already.
Okay.
As you mentioned that, I think they're the only brand I know has a pure form. So I will check it out.
Yeah, check it out and see. And just see how it work with you, and then just post it if you want, what I'm saying, or let people know. I always try out different forms, and that's why I end up with just the raw form. Because I rather take time and take care of myself, than to say, well, hey, I ain't had the time to brew no tea or anything like that. Because I'm not a big fan of popping pills. I know the society has gotten accustomed to that, quick and easy. But I just rather do it, my way. Everybody have a different thing, and yeah, if you don't have the time, you don't have the time. But
yeah.
Are you?
Was that tomorrow?
And with heat, or do you think that just heating? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you kind of breaking up.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
My connection a bit slow.
Can you also? How about now?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Let me see. Okay. Can you also steam fire so you can brew it?
I heard fire, and you could brew it.
All right. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I was saying, can you
Yeah.
steep it overnight instead of having to heat it up?
Oh, yes, you can. You could do an overnight infusion.
Right.
You know, overnight infusion is like, all right, you have your berries there, you add your water to it the night before and just let it sit. You know,
Maybe
in the
those
morning
with
you
a
strain it off. Good.
busy lifestyle, you know, maybe they could do that, right?
Yes, they can. You know, and you could always package it in like a, not this, but like a bigger sports bottle. That way you could sip,
Hmm.
that way you could sip as you go through the day. You know, and get all your nutrients that you need. Right? So, all right, so we're at 130, 129 right now. So let's see what we have coming up next week. Next Sunday we're gonna talk about the allergies, right? We're gonna try and lick that shit out because especially the youths and them out here, the children and them, you know, suffering from all these allergies and running seasonal stuff. Let's
Right.
see how we could you know, just help people with that.
Right.
Um, that's next Sunday. And then we
Get
have,
a lot of parents to come on.
well, we hoping so. If not, they will just have to check out the video. You know, they will just have to check
All
out
right.
the video from there. You know? So let me see. Any more questions before we close out on the prostate? You know,
No, no more questions.
Nah, not yet.
Okay.
So I will look out for the email with whatever books you could send, and I'll keep reading up on thing in the meantime.
Okay. Yeah. And as I say, pay attention to nature because nature has all the answers, man. You know, you're gonna get to a point where, how to put it? How to put it, Tamara, to a point where what?
What do you mean?
Because I told him nature has all the answers and he just needs to observe. So I was telling him he would get to a point where,
Oh, well, get to a point where as you're going through your daily lives and activities, you're going to start to recognize certain things, you know, look at the trees, look at your situations, and kind of apply what you're learning to it so that everything becomes easier. And then everything also starts to make more sense. Because you can read all you want, but if you don't apply it to your life and if you don't get that experience, then you're not going to be able to understand it much. So, like with me, it's been helping out with kind of applying it to my situations in life, you know, whatever I'm learning. So just, yeah, be observant.
because that's all it is, right? You know, observation and, you know, nature is always corresponding with us because that's what we are. We are nature also. So don't ever think that you out of line with nature, out of alignment with nature, right? You are nature, so you could never be out of alignment with it. You know, it's a lot about what we've been taught in the past, and you know, now it's just about observation. Pay attention, and I'm guaranteeing you how to put it. Pay attention, and you will know. You will not only know what you are or what the herbs can do, right? You're gonna know a whole lot more, right? So with that said, yeah, I think that might be about it for today. You know, until the next time, and if somebody asks for more prostate discussion, I mean, hey, you know, because we're supposed to have some herbalists on here to sharing their views and stuff like that. But I know a lot of people are busy, so but the show goes on, as they say. All right. So next week we're doing seasonal allergies. Let's see where we go from there. Right. In March we doing
Right, good.
in March we're doing a weight loss, like a beginner to weight loss. And that one will be good, you know, because a lot of people think exercising alone is and diet and all of that.
You have to detox before the weight loss.
Yeah. You know, we got to address that liver
Right.
like crazy.
Right, to burn off the fat. Right.
Yeah. Right, because I don't care how much you exercise, I don't care how much you eat. If you're not eating the right things to stimulate the liver and the liver cells actually break the fat down, turn the glycogen back into glucose, you're not gonna be losing no weight.
Right.
Yeah, I heard that already because listened to something from Ayurvedic medicine guy, and he was saying that one of the reasons that people can't lose weight is because when your body builds up toxins and it's too much, it normally uses the fat to store the excess toxins. So when that happens, all the fat around your organs tend to take up the excess toxins. So if your body has to lose fat, it means it will have to reabsorb those toxins in your body. So most times you're exercising and your diet and you wouldn't lose weight, and it's because you have to detox. Otherwise, you'll flood your organs with some toxins. So they were talking about the importance of detoxing before you try any weight loss program.
Yeah.
I don't know I didn't really research it further, but it made some sense.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for sense. So, you know, when we get to the next few weeks or so, we are guaranteed, you know, we will make sense of it. You know, because it all plays a part. You know, the toxins, the detoxin, the liver, what it does, how it functions. You know, anything to enter the body, it has to pass through the liver. So if something was to make it inside the body, right, then definitely the liver compromised, right? What do you call it? What do you call him? The project manager, right? They just call him the project manager. So if the project manager fall asleep on the job and you have trucks coming in and out making deliveries and he fall asleep on the job, right? What gonna happen? He gonna miss deliveries. And as he missed, you know, who's coming in, who's going out. You know, and then you have all these toxins building up inside there. I mean, it's all connected, put it like that. So when we get to there, when we get to there, we're going to talk about it and see how we could help some people. You know, all the discussions we have, we're going to post them, you know, online and see, you know, as I say, it's just to help people. You know, maybe they might have comments, maybe they might have suggestions. All is welcome. I have no problem with nothing, good or bad, because I don't believe in too much bad anyway. You know, it's all energy, and we could make sense of it. You know, so comment as they please. All right. So with that said, if all you have anything else, all you want to say at the end, I mean, we could say it and then we could get out of here till next week.
No, just a good discussion.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
So looking forward to the next one.
All right. So we had maybe like 11, 12 people. I would say 13 because while I'm talking here, like 2 more people registered for the discussion. But as you see, we only have 3 people in here. So, I mean, hey, it is what it is. If they miss it, they could always catch it on the recording. You know, I prefer the live, but we'll see. All right, so till next week then.
All right.
Next week, good sphere.
All right, peace.